FUNCLE's Customs, where I find all kinds of cars in different places. I usually fix them and flip them, but sometimes I keep them. This is My Garage Revivals. We received quite a large shipment of parts for Eric's 1965 Ford Mustang. Hello everybody and welcome back to My Garage Revivals. Yeah, it's very early in the morning and we are up and at 'em already. So yes, I thought I'd just quickly show you guys the little flat we've got up here now before heading downstairs to start working for today. So yes, we've got some lights in the place obviously, but it's already light outside. So in here we've got our little bathroom, a built-in shower, and then we've got a little bit of furniture. We've got a small table over here. We've got our microwave over here, a nice and comfortable bed to sleep on, and we've got a refrigerator. So that is pretty much anything and everything that a bachelor would need. And also I've got some pizza left over from last night. So yeah, this is actually a lot better than sleeping on the couch downstairs. So I think it's definitely a massive upgrade for us. So yeah, let me quickly show you guys what has been going on yesterday. So I did take the cab off the truck. As you can see, it's pretty much bare frame now. So we still need to get a new battery installed and our transfer case on this. And then pretty much this thing will be ready to be put back together. So yeah, that is definitely going quite well. I didn't expect this thing was going to come together so nicely. So there we've got our old trusty shop truck and our trailer still in the yard. So yeah, we are going to pretty much enter the shop and just pretty much start working for the day. So we did receive quite a big shipment of parts for Eric's 1965 Ford Mustang. So yeah, let's quickly take a tour. And as you can see, we also got our Chevelle back. So this is pretty much ready for its interior to be installed today. So the interior did come as well. So that is pretty much in here. So we can get all of this fitted to the car as well. So yeah, we can actually just open this door for a little bit of fresh air and also for some light to come in. Alright, so yeah, we've got our little cab for the truck. So this is pretty much here because I'm going to strip it all down to see if we can get everything sandblasted and getting rid of all the rust and stuff like that. So yes, that is pretty much also on the to-do list for us. Alright, then we also have this engine up on the stand over here, which I bought off a guy called Geordie. So yes, he gave this to me with the transmission and the exhaust system and everything we need for our shop truck to get it up and running. This only cost me $5,500, so that's not too bad. We just need to service it a little bit, obviously. But yes, today we are going to tackle Eric's 1965 Ford Mustang, which is definitely in need of some body work. As you can see, it's been quite smashed in the front left over here. This is actually catching the fender already, the tire. So we are gonna pretty much see how far we can get into this thing today, but I do want to start working on the engine as well and sort out the Chevelle. So yes, we are just going to do a couple of things on the Mustang. There's absolutely no rush in getting this job done. So as you can see, we've got a lot of work actually to do to this thing. We've got pretty much replacement parts for all the body that we need to repair on this thing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my toolbox and start digging into this thing and just taking all the parts off. We even have got some new parts over here as well around the corner. And then I think we'll pretty much get an idea of what we need to do to that thing to get it up and running properly again. Alright, so here we are ready with our wrench in hand, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the front end, and we're just going to pretty much take everything off that we can unbolt, and then we're going to see what we need to cut off with the grinder. So obviously I would like to take the engine and the radiator and all that apart as well, or at least take it out of the car, not really take it apart. So this old busted fender is coming off, and we'll just once again set it all down on a pile. Alright, so there we go. Alright, so here's the passenger side fender, which is also quite badly damaged. So we'll just put all of the broken parts over there. So I think what I'm going to do now is pretty much see if we can get this radiator removed. So we've got obviously 4 bolts on this as well. And let's see if we can get to these over here. They are a little bit bent in, but we should manage to get it. I think that should do it. Alright, so here's the radiator, which is still in fairly good condition, so that doesn't look like it's going to be any problem to reuse this. And then let's see what else we can get unbolted over here. I think this front bumper should be able to unbolt somehow, but I think maybe if we take these off, the whole valance will come with it. Just like that. So that's pretty much the whole front end of this car. That is definitely very badly banged up. Alright, so let's put it down over there. So yes, we've got pretty much replacement parts for all of these things we are taking off. So it's just a matter of getting to the bottom of this and seeing what is really badly damaged and what is some things we need to try and reuse. Because obviously we don't have all the parts. We are going to need to do a full fresh rebuild on this thing. But we are going to try our best and see if we can get this thing up and running in a fairly decent condition. Let's just take off these exhausts as well. Just slide them out and just put them on the floor over here for now. Alright, so there we go. That is our other muffler taken off. So I think we should be good to pretty much rip this engine out now. I think our engine should probably come out if we have got everything loosened up. We just see. I think that's the last one. Alright, so there's our engine. Yeah, this is still a good running engine. So I don't think we need to really mess around with that too much. But we'll see. Might do a little bit of a service at a later stage. Alright, so over here we've got pretty much our battery tray which can come out. But I think we need to take off the battery first of all. Alright, so there's the battery. The battery still seems fine. That doesn't look like it's got any problems. Alright, and then as for the wiring, let's just take all these wires off. And put it down over there. Alright, I think the transmission can stay for now, but I think we need to try and get this thing up on some jack stands. Or, well, floor jacks under it, because I want to see if I can take off the whole front suspension. Alright, let's get this one on the opposite side, and then we'll see what happens if we are going to unbolt this whole front cross member. Alright, I think over there should be good. If we can lift it up over here. Or just pretty much support it. Alright, so let's get these big chunky wheels off. Alright, so there's the one. Yeah, this is quite a big wheel for such a small car. Alright, there we go. We've got our other wheel taken off. And it looks like the jack stands or the floor jacks are keeping it up. So now we can pretty much remove the shock absorbers. I think that's going to be a little bit better if we just take these out for now. If we undo the brake hoses over here, then we should be able to pretty much drop this whole thing down. Just undo this one as well, and then we'll get these 2 bolts taken out. I think, alright, there it goes. Alright, I think that is pretty much what we wanted. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all the front parts off that are clearly damaged. You can see there's quite a bit of kinks in this panel. We might have to reuse this. I don't know if he sent a new one over, but we will take it off. Alright, I think let's just put it on the shelf over there. Alright, so I think we are ready to start cutting. Obviously don't have my cutting disc on the angle grinder, because we did a little bit of polishing on our little Neva last, I think. Alright, so let's get this disc removed. We'll just set it down over here, and we need to find a cutting disc. Alright, so we've got a cutting disc. Just get that on the angle grinder, and then yeah, I think it's just a matter of starting to cut at the front. So everything will pretty much come off in sections by the looks of it. Let's tackle this front inner fender. I think that should do it. There we go, that is the one. Alright, so this is the one that isn't too badly damaged, but we'll just set it aside because we are going to be replacing them both. We do have two brand new ones over here. Alright, and then let's get the other one off as well. Alright, I think that should do the trick. Alright, I think up next what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove everything from the firewall over here. So those are the pedals bolts. Let's just get this removed. Alright, so there we go. That's our pedals. And then we've got our brake master cylinder over here, which we should be able to get out from here as well. There we go. Alright, so that still seems decent. Okay, and then I think our steering column, this could come out. Alright, so that looks like it's color matched to the car actually, so we'll see if we have to replace this. This looks a little bit bent, but that might be the way that it's supposed to be. I'm not too entirely sure yet, but we'll figure that out. Alright, coming over here, I think let's get our transmission removed. Alright, so there's the transmission, aka gearbox. Alright, let's get those torsion bars out. Alright, so there goes that. And then we'll do this as well. Alright, let's see if we can get this firewall cut off. I think the doors might actually have to come off as well, so let's do that quickly. Alright, so there's the passenger side door. Alright, let's go grab the driver side door as well. Alright, so here we go. This is the driver side door, also quite banged up. So I'm not too sure about interior parts because I didn't see any interior parts for this car. We might have to source those if he wants to replace them. Or maybe he doesn't want any more interior parts in this car, so I guess I'll just have to check with him. Alright, but now I think we should be able to get this firewall removed. Alright, and we've got a cut to do over there, and I think that is our firewall with the dashboard and everything. So a couple of parts we can actually take off from here. So let's get our screwdriver. There we go. We've got our screwdriver. I just want to see if this dash actually has got some screws we can take out. Or are we going to be able to just pretty much rip it apart? No, I think those are the screws we need to undo for this. Alright, so that's our upper dashboard pad. That is interesting the way that works, and it looks like we can probably take the other half off by undoing another screw somewhere, or is this just clipped in? Let me quickly investigate here for a second. I think let's just try this. Alright, so the pry tool isn't getting that thing off. Yeah, I've got no idea how this dashboard is going to come out. Probably some screws somewhere I'm not seeing at the moment. Alright, well, I think I'm not going to mess around with this too much if I'm not able to figure it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave this as is for the moment. We'll see if we can figure it out. It almost looks as if this is supposed to be a screw or something, but yeah, I really don't know. Maybe, what is this? There we go. I think, there we have it. Alright, so that is pretty much our dashboard out. Alright, and then we can probably put this thing back together then. Alright, and there and over there. Alright, perfect. And then obviously we need to take this handbrake lever off. Alright, let's get this unbolted. There we go. Alright, so this still seems to be decent, but we'll have to just double check it. So you also got a little bit of suspension parts we need to sort out over here. Alright, so we've got the little middle lip, or what is this? This is the cowl panel. So we've got the little cowl panel out as well. That came with the Firewall by the looks of it. So we should have a replacement part in between all of these. I think this is it. Alright, so we are going to be replacing that as well. But we might have to actually do the whole roof and everything taken off before we can get to that. Because I'm not sure if this is going to be able to, possible to do after we've got pretty much that installed, if we take the floor out again. But I think we'll figure it out as we go. That's going to be pretty much a learning curve for us. So let's see what this thing does if we get the Firewall into place. Alright, the floor seems to be quite intact still. I don't know if we really need to replace it. But yeah, I think it kind of looks okay. I'm not too sure. But we do have some rocker panels that we need to replace because these are obviously damaged. Right, and I think our jacks are starting to slip a little bit. It might actually just fall down. Right, so let's do this. Just pretty much investigating how far the damage, or what the extent of the damage is. Okay, so those rocker panels, we've got replacements for those. Alright, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the roof off now. Let's just see where... Oh, there it is. Alright, so we've got pretty much that weld over there. And I think this one... Alright, so there's our roof. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of junk to take care of after this episode by the looks of it. Alright, so that is our Firewall pretty much in place. So let's start by assembling the front end again of this thing. So we've got pretty much everything we need to get the front end sorted here by the looks of it. Alright, so let's get this panel mounted. I think our jack is probably in the way. Yes, that is definitely a problem. Alright, so we're going to have to make a plan with that quick. So let's grab a tire over here. Let's just put this under the car. And lower this side down. Alright, and then this should go on over here. Like that. And then we can probably weld it into place again. Right, I think there and over there, and that should be fine. Right, let's grab the other panel over here. This is the one for the left. I see we don't have a battery tray on that one, so we'll have to reuse the old one. Alright, and let's weld that one up. Okay, and let's grab our radiator support. Get that back on. Alright, let's weld that into place. Perfect. Alright, and then, if I'm not mistaken, this should go on. Whoops. Okay, I just pushed the car off the jack, but that's okay. It's not a big problem. Luckily, we did have the tire underneath it. Okay, so let me just reposition this jack on there. Alright, let's just get this thing lifted up again. Alright, I think that should do. Now I want to see if I can get that front cross member back in place. Alright, let's bolt it on. Alright, so there we go. We've got it, but it's a little bit bouncy on the tire by the looks of it. So we'll have to get that tire taken out from under there. Alright, so our suspension is pretty much back into place. Alright, so I think it should be safe to lower this thing down now. Although we are going to put it on the brake discs, that's also fine. Just think it's a little bit safer if it's actually standing on something. Alright, and then let me come and rip this wheel out of here. Alright, perfect. So that is our front end pretty much sorted out. It's starting to look a little bit better. I'm not sure if we really have to replace this floor pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just see if there's any major issues with it. I don't think there's going to be major issues. Alright, so that looks kind of straight. Don't think there's any problems with that. Alright, what I wanted to check was if we can get that torsion support bar taken out. Where did I put the angle grinder? Oh, it's behind the wheel. Alright, there we go. Alright, let's quickly see if we can get this middle frame. What is this? This is the torsion support, yes. Let's get our torsion support removed over here. I think that is the weld we need to cut, and that one. Alright, so there's our transmission support as well on it, so we need to unbolt that from there. Alright, so let's get this unbolted. Alright, and I believe we should have a new one of these kicking around among all of these parts we've got over here. Alright, so what do we have here? We've got a frame rail. There's another frame rail. Alright, so it doesn't look like we've got a replacement for that. We've got this middle frame brace, so we're going to have to probably reuse this then. Alright, so let's just double check in this if this thing is nice and straight. Yeah, that seems good. Alright, so let's get this back under the car over here. And we'll weld that into place. Alright, so that is our torsion support back into place. So now what I think we can do is probably see if our quarter panels can come off as well, but yeah, I'm actually going too far, so let's rather focus on the front end for now. So I think let's get our radiator back in place. We'll definitely start puzzling this thing back together one way or another. Alright, so the radiator is back in place and it fits much better now that there's no dents in this front panel over here. Alright, let's get our battery tray back into place over here. This goes over there. Just bolt it down. Alright, and we can be sure to get this put back into place as well for our transmission to go back in. Alright, that is looking fairly decent. Alright, next up I'm going to pretty much put these torsion supports back into place. So let's put one over there. And the other one will go back into there. Alright, so I'm just quickly having a look at all the parts we still have over here. We've got pretty much all the floor pans, and I don't think our floor pan is really bad on the car, but I do notice that these are brand new ones. So I think it's just going to be a little bit better if we do replace the floor pan as well. So we should be able to do it now without having too much trouble. But I'm not too sure how this is going to work if we cut it off, because yeah, obviously we don't want to get this thing in such a condition where we're not going to be able to put it back together. So we're going to try our best and see what happens if we cut it off now. So we have to pretty much cut the welds we just made again, but that's also fine. Alright, are these also connected to the floor? Let's just check this out over here. Alright, so our floor pan is free. So I think this is the biggest part we need to get installed. So let's grab the new one and just rather put it into place like that. And then we can weld it back. I think let's do this. Alright, so this is actually quite a bit of a learning curve for me. I must say I've never ever in my life worked on a 1965 Ford Mustang. So I don't know what the ins and outs are of this thing. But I think we are sort of heading in the right direction by taking the old parts off and just replacing it with new ones as we go. So yeah, that is definitely starting to look a little bit different, especially at the front end when we had all that damage over here. So we've still got quite a long way to go on this thing, but I'm quite hopeful we will get there eventually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a day for this car for now, because obviously we've got a lot of things to sort out in the shop still. So for example, we need to see if we can get our Chevy Chevelle put back together, because that is also going to be going to the auction. So our little Neva 4x4 is pretty much at auction. And yes, I think at this moment we are just waiting to hear what is going on with that vehicle and how much money we have made of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to first of all take out this front seat, which is the odd one, which we just put in temporarily to get this car moving. Alright, so let's get the seat taken out. Alright, we'll just set it down there for now. Alright, so we've got our brand new rear seat, which we can put in first. Alright, so we've got a bolt over there. And there's another bolt. Alright, so our back seat is in place. So let's grab our other front seat for the driver's side. I think this is pretty much ready to go in. Alright, let's get that bolted down. Alright, I think let's grab the biggest part over here, which is our headliner. Alright, so there's just one bolt over there, and I think that pretty much sorts out the whole headliner and the parcel shelf of this car. So that is looking much better already. Alright, so then we've got our door cards. Alright, so let's put this one in. We're going to have to go around this side. Let's just bolt that down. This one goes over here. Alright, perfect. And now I think it's just the two door cards. So this is our driver's side door. There we go. So that is looking much better. Because obviously when we took these things off, they were definitely in a very bad shape. So yeah, that actually came out quite good. Alright, so let's grab our gear stick. Alright, so this is actually a replacement unit we've got over here. This is pretty much a brand new one. So we'll get that put into position over there and bolted down. Perfect. Alright, so I think now it's just pretty much our dashboard we need to get installed, but for that we're going to need our screwdriver. Alright, so here we go. We've got our dashboard, and I already installed the cluster and the little trim we've got for the passenger side as well, so that is looking much better. Alright, so 2 screws on that side, and then we've got 2 screws over here. Alright, so there's our 1969 Chevy Chevelle, pretty much ready for the auction. So I did get everything sorted out. We've got brand new exhaust pipes on the back. So these are actually from a little bit of a later model Chevy Chevelle. I think this is from a 1970 Chevelle, so that is actually still suits the car quite well. We've got our beautiful beige interior installed now, and this thing is just pretty much all round decent now. We've got that beautiful 350 cubic inch Chevy engine under the hood, which has been restored. And yes, I think this thing is going to fetch a pretty penny at auction. So yeah, if you are interested in bidding on this vehicle, there is a link to my Discord down in the description, and then you will be able to place your bets on this vehicle as well. Alright, so moving on, now that our Chevy Chevelle is sorted out and we've got quite a bit of a mess in our shop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start stripping that engine. So I'm going to grab the toolbox. I don't know what else we're going to need. There's actually not much in this toolbox. So we are going to grab our tools and just quickly start stripping that engine, because I think there's going to be a lot of things to do to this engine. By means of taking everything apart and just making sure that this thing is going to be reliable for us in our ramp truck, because that is going to become our main vehicle that we're going to start using around the shop. So we're going to start off by taking this cooling fan off at the front. So there we go, we've got our cooling fan off. So let's see if we can get this alternator belt off. Alright, that is looking quite bad, so we'll have to replace that. Alright, so let's get our wrench. Alright, so over here we've got our power steering pump, or steering pump as they would call it. Just got to see where all these bolts are. So we've got another one over here and down there. Right, so there we go. So we are going to have to replace that by the looks of it. Alright, let's see what else we need to pretty much strip off, because I don't want to strip something off if it still looks decent. Alright, so let's have a look under here. The oil filter lid is looking a little bit bad. Oh, there's the oil filter itself just popped out, so that still seems decent. We could probably reuse this, but I do want to see if I can get a new lid for this thing, because that is definitely not good if that is going to be leaking. Alright, so let's get this removed. This is our relay for our glow plugs. Still looks like it works. Right, and yeah, once again we are going to need our socket wrench for this. Right, so those are the glow plugs, I believe, and those upper ones are the injectors. So let's just check all of these. Yeah, just as I thought, some of these are going to be bad, because obviously this is a huge used engine. This one doesn't look too bad. Might still work, so that is good. Okay, how's this one doing? That's also still good. Not too bad. Alright, and this one, that's, yeah, definitely worn. You can tell just by looking at it. Alright, how good is this one? Still fairly new, so that's not too bad. Alright, and this one, that is also still good. So I think we've got 4 that is good, and these 2 are going to have to be replaced by the looks of it. Alright, so that is good. At least now we know what we need to replace on the glow plugs. I think for this, let me quickly come and take off those fuel lines. Alright, so we're going to unbolt these. Alright, how are these fuel lines doing? Yeah, I think they might actually be worth replacing as well, because that is a major fail point. If that breaks, then yeah, we're going to have a lot of trouble with this thing. Alright, so let's check our injectors over here. Alright, let's start with this one. Yeah, that is not too bad, but in terms of reliability, we want to try and make this thing last as long as it possibly can. So I think this one is still decent. We'll keep that one. Let me just tilt it slightly overwards to this side. Alright, and then there's another one, not too bad. We can reuse that one. I'll be happy to use that again. Okay, let's check this one. It's also not too bad. Alright, so how's this one? Alright, that one needs to be replaced. And then this one, last one. That's still fairly decent, so we'll reuse that as well. Once again, we need to replace 2 injectors. Okay. Alright, so what I think I'm going to do, let's start stripping off this flywheel, because I want to see what the condition of the clutch plate and everything is on this. Alright, let's spin this thing around, just like that. Alright, so there's our pressure plate. It's actually worth replacing that as well. And here's our clutch plate. Yeah, we'll also swap that out for a new one. Alright, so let's have a look at our flywheel over here. Alright, so the flywheel is still fair. I would say we can still use that for a while. Alright, so let's see how our starter is doing over here. Yeah, it's not too bad. Alright, another thing I wanted to check is the condition of our fuel filter over here, because I remember on our Mercedes diesel we had a problem with our fuel filter. So that is actually not too bad, but we'll get a new one of those as well. That is a serviceable part. Alright, so last but not least, on this side I want to take off this fuel pump just to inspect it a little bit. I don't know if there's going to be any trouble with it. Well, this might actually fail not too long from now, so we'll see what we can do about that. Maybe we can replace that one or something. We'll see. Alright, and let's get this valve cover off, because this valve cover is looking a little bit rusty, and I want to just investigate under this to see what the damage is. Alright, so we'll get a new cylinder head cover. Alright, so everything else inside here seems fairly decent, so let me just see if I can get this camshaft taken out. Alright, and there we go. We've got a couple of bolts over here. They are a little bit sticky to get to, but we've got them. Alright, so there's our camshaft. Camshaft, definitely not perfect. Let's just check this. Sprocket, that is still good, so we don't need to worry about that. Alright, let's just set our... we'll drop the wrench over there. Come on, how's this thing gonna come out now? I think the timing chain can't come out. Nope, we still have to strip a couple of things off the front here. Alright, so I think what I'm gonna do is let's start with this turbocharger system. Alright, let's take this off first. Turbo downpipe. Alright, and then let's take this off. This is our turbo air filter. Yeah, we need to replace that. Alright, so I think you should be able to get this turbo taken off. Alright, so let's see what the turbo is like. Luckily this isn't too bad, because turbos are quite expensive to replace. Alright, so now we'll take off this manifold over here. Alright, so there we go. That is our intake. Doesn't look too bad, but I can't really tell if there's anything wrong with it. Alright, so let's see what else we've got over here. We've got our oil pan, but we'll tackle that in a bit. This is a housing of some sort for the oil filter. Alright, so there's our oil filter housing. Doesn't look like it's bad. Right, so let's start here at the front now. So we need to investigate under all of this what is happening here. Right, so there's our belt tensioner. Still looks fine. Can definitely reuse that. Alright, so let's take this off. This is our little pulley at the front. Alright, so let's see if this water pump is gonna come off without any trouble. Alright, so the water pump came off quite easily. It's not too bad, so we can definitely reuse that as well. Alright, alternator, let's check this out. Okay, so this is yeah, it's definitely not the best I've seen, but I think that'll be better to just replace it. Right, so let's dig into this whole timing section over here. Underneath the timing cover, what will we find? Timing cover itself isn't in a great shape, but I think that's still fine for now. Right, so I think, if I'm not mistaken, this timing chain should come out now. I mean, there's nothing really holding it in. Right, so how good is this? Yeah, that's still fine. We could still reuse that. Alright, so let's take that little sprocket off at the front. Pop it off. Alright, so we'll get a new one of these. That one is quite worn. Alright, and let's do the oil pan. Right, so here she goes. So this engine has been drained of all the oil, so we'll probably have to get a new oil pan by the looks of it, because this one is a little bit damaged. Alright, so we do have a couple of bad pistons in this engine by the looks of it, so we'll slot this one out. Let's just put them on the table. These are definitely broken, so I'm not going to bother putting them actually somewhere we're gonna reuse them. So let's just get these unbolted, get them out, and we'll just throw them on the floor rather. So there we go. Let's just get this one to join those. Alright, so that's 50% of the pistons in this engine bad, but that's to be expected if the engine has got a little bit of mileage on like this one. But I think we'll probably just replace all of these pistons by the looks of it. They are definitely on their last legs, especially these last few ones I'm getting out now. That seems to be in good condition, but they will not last very long. Alright, and then yeah, then we get one odd piston that seems to be very good. Don't know. That's very interesting. Alright, so last but not least, under here we're going to take out this crankshaft. Alright, so the crankshaft is basically still very good. So that is something we can definitely just reuse. Alright, so now the last thing I would like to check actually is, oh, we've got a bracket we can take off over here. Alright, so this is our alternator bracket. That's still decent. Alright, so let's take this off quickly. This is our exhaust header. Let's just make sure that everything is fine with this. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Alright, but we'll just investigate that a little bit more carefully. Alright, so let's pull this cylinder head off now. Alright, are there any more parts attached to this thing? Don't think so. Doesn't look like it. Alright, so that is still fair. I mean, we can still reuse that. And as for the head gasket, which is reusable, that's still in decent condition as well. Alright, let's just put it there. Alright, and I think that is pretty much our engine strip. So I think I've got a pretty good idea of what I need to buy for this engine and what I don't really need to replace just yet on this engine. But the engine block itself definitely has got a lot of wear on it. By the looks of it, it's like, yeah, that's about halfway worn. So yeah, I think that is going to be a wrap for this episode. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate every view, every like. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I will appreciate it very much. But yes, until the next time, cheerio.